Hello, welcome to Irresistible You Ignite Your Passion and Purpose. I'm Karen Seltz, I'm your host. And if you're new to me, there are three things that I would really like for you to know about me. The first one is that I want you to feel safe with me, and I want you to feel like you could tell me anything and know that I would not judge you, that I would accept you no matter what. The second thing is that I consider my greatest superpower to be that of a divine mirror. And what I mean by that is I have cultivated the ability to see people through the eyes of the divine. So as the divine sees them, and to reflect their gifts back to them in the truth of who they are until they get it for themselves and they say, okay, I get it. Yes, I see it. I finally see it. And the third thing is that I have not walked a straight path. I have overcome addiction, depression, anxiety, very low self esteem, no self confidence, and no self worth. And if I can do it, you can do it. So let's rock and roll. Tonight, I really am excited about this topic. I'm going to talk about quantum physics. Don't turn off the video. Don't press pause. Don't leave, because this is something that you can use. So if you've ever had a goal and you've been working toward it, one thing about living in this 3D world is it takes time to get from point A to point B. It takes time to cross that space. Or if you have a big goal, let's say you're saving for a house. If you do it in the 3D, you must get a job, save money, do a bunch of things that take time in order to get that house. But when you are manifesting in the quantum field, which is the infinite field of unlimited possibilities, time is abundant. There's so much time that it doesn't have any meaning. The only time that exists is right now. And I'm going to share with you a few experiences, but then I want to talk about this theory called many worlds theory. And I absolutely adore this theory. It makes so much sense once you understand it. At least to me, it does. So, what that means is that we think, we see ourselves as matter, right? We see ourselves as physical beings. But if you look at an atom under a microscope, it is 99.999139% empty space or energy or information. So not only do we exist as a particle, we also exist as a wave, which is a frequency or the energy. And all possible frequencies and combinations of energy exists in multiple infinite realms, infinite worlds, if you will, and all potentials simultaneously exist. So if you know anything about quantum physics, here's one thing. An atom could be in many, many different places at once until somebody observes it, and then it takes form. So when you decide to make a choice and you're like, oh, what should I do? What should I do? And you do one thing, say you choose the door A, and you think, what would have happened if I had chosen door B? Well, that potential also exists in the quantum. And so do all the other potentials, because there are never just two doors for us. There are always an infinite number of choices. We just don't see them. That's one of the things I talk about when I talk about the ego mind, is a lot of times we see only two choices. It's either left or right or wrong, up or down. That's the ego mind trying to get you to think like this, very narrow focused, and to limit yourself. But the truth is, you are unlimited and you have an infinite number of choices. So the many worlds theory states that because there are all of these infinite worlds existing at the same time, that there is a version of you somewhere out there that already has everything you want to have. She already is everything you want to be, and she already does or behaves exactly as you want to behave. So when you can tap into her frequency, her energy, And you do that by feeling what she feels. When you could tap into that, you shorten that timeline and you actually draw her to you and you become her now. There is no time anymore. So let me share with you how you do that, because a lot of people say, "Oh, those are big fancy words," but what the heck does that mean? And this last week, I did some bonus sessions for a free challenge I was doing, and I channeled this meditation that ended up being exactly that. So we got grounded on, like, who is it that you are in the process of becoming? How does she stand? How does she wake up in the morning? Is she excited? Is she like ready to go, or is she depressed and dragging her butt? Think about all the things. What are her characteristics? Is she generous? Is she powerful? Is she passionate? Does she love to share? Does she laugh easily? Does she forgive others? Does she accept other people? So think about, like, what are the characteristics that you really want to embody? Maybe she has great courage. She does it scared. She might be scared to do things, but she does them anyway. So think about that. Like, what kind of characteristics make her her? And then when she is noticing that she's being these things, and maybe she has some contrast, maybe she wasn't always those things, right? Because we're all works in progress. We all evolve and grow, or else we devolve. So we get to choose. You can revolve, keep living the same day over and over based on your programming, continue to be unconscious, which most of us are too much of our days, too much of our emotions, our thoughts. The statistics say that 80 to 90% of what we think are the same thoughts that we thought yesterday. And most of those are negative. So you could see why we keep creating Groundhog Day over and over and over. Like, why does this seem so familiar? Well, because it is. You're unconscious most of the time until you start doing the work to bring everything up out of the basement, shine some light on it, and make a choice. Like, I am not going to go unconscious. These are the thoughts I want you to look for, and you're talking to your subconscious mind. These are the emotions that I no longer want to feel. These are the behaviors that I no longer want to do. So say you have the habit of going to bed and scrolling on your phone for 2 hours before you go to sleep. So you want to alert your subconscious mind, say, hey, let me know the moment I go to pick up my phone, let me know that I'm making that choice to go unconscious again. Or maybe you grab the carton of ice cream from the freezer while you're watching TV and you're mindlessly eating and you're not paying attention. And you're not even really enjoying it. You're just mindless. It's just a habit. And then you just feel icky afterward. So start noticing those things and telling your subconscious mind to be on your side. Like, this is the thing I want you to look for. Now, show me the opportunities to be courageous. And of course, people are scared sometimes to do that, but you always have opportunities. You always do. We just ignore them. A lot of times, you might be too scared. I know I was, and sometimes I still am. So you want to look for what you do want. So when you are choosing, consciously choosing, say 3 ways of being, say courageous, passionate, and powerful. Whatever your 3 are, you're going to practice those every single day. And you're going to tell your subconscious mind, okay, give me opportunities to practice courageous, passionate, and powerful, courageous, passionate, and powerful. And you're going to come up with those. And when you behave that way, you're going to say, you did it, woohoo, and you're going to celebrate yourself. That is the way you reinforce it. Now, when you are being those things, start noticing, how do you feel? How do you feel when you're courageous? Maybe excited about life, happy to be alive, in love with life, in love with yourself, in love with humanity, like thrilled to be alive. Like, think about those emotions. How about when you're passionate or powerful or generous or kind or loving? Do you feel, just content with yourself? Do you feel joyful, peaceful? And you want to start embodying those emotions now. You don't have to wait to get the thing. Dr. Joe Dispenza says gratitude is the ultimate state of receivership, because the signature of gratitude means something good or wanted just happened. So when you can feel grateful ahead of the actual event, you are literally changing your frequency and you are drawing that thing to you. So, how about we practice? So, you practice every single day, feeling the emotions of your future. And really, I invite you to get in state, put on some music, some headphones, some blindfolds. I have mine here, my eye shades. I did some healing sessions today. So, close off your senses as much as you can and really focus in on, okay, what do I want? How does that version of me walk? What does she look like? What does her face look like? How do people respond to her when she enters a room? Do people notice? Do they light up, or do they shy away? What's her presence? Who is she being? And then what kind of actions come out of those ways of being? How does she think? What does she think? What does she say to herself? What does she think about humanity, about service, about unconditional love? So when you can get into her shoes and walk there, just sit there. Don't literally walk, right? I mean, you can. Why not? Sit in her shoes and think her thoughts, feel her feelings, do her actions. And it's like a mental rehearsal, and choose that reality. Out of the infinite numbers of reality, you're going to choose that one. And you're going to choose it over and over as much as possible. Now, this is not a one and done. You get to keep doing it. You get to keep being it until it becomes natural and easy for you. And then watch out, because really cool stuff is going to happen. And I want to share with you like a few stories of me playing with possibility. So the first one I want to share is I was at a Dr. Joe Dispenza retreat in Cancun, and it was the day after. So this was a week-long retreat. And the day after, there was a group of women. We were going to go to these caves, cenotes, to go swimming. And this guy was going to drive us because he was heading in that direction. But he had rented an electric car that mostly sat in the garage all week. So when he went to start it, it was completely dead. The battery was dead, dead, dead. Well, being the good student, I said, hey, I just did the body electric walking meditation on the beach. I am fired up. I said, surely in the infinite realm of all possibilities, there is a potential for us to start your car. Let us go start your car. And I was like, body electric is something. It is something else. I'll tell you. It's only available at retreats, but it's my favorite. And it goes through all the energy centers of the body and just lights up the cells. The cells come online and everything is working and coordinating. You could feel the electricity running through your body. So I already knew without a shadow of a doubt that this was a possibility and it was going to happen. I just knew. So anyways, he's like, nah, he's like poo-pooing me. And then he goes to talk to the valet. And this hotel is like kind of in the middle of nowhere. And the valet says, well, you're going to have to get an Uber or a taxi to give you a jump because we can't do that. We're working. So I'm like, well, just give me your keys. What do you have to lose? So he finally, he's like, hands me the keys. So this other woman and I go down there. We pop the hood. We rub our hands together, which is just a way of, igniting the electricity and channeling it. And then we're like, we have our hands over the battery. And I could feel electricity just like pouring out of my palms. And we were there for maybe only 5 or 10 seconds. And then the valet came with jumper cables. And I'm like, okay, whatever. So I just put the cables on this guy's car battery. And then the valet takes the cables and he goes, zzz, and he like tapped them together. And then he's like, whoa, this car has so much electricity. It doesn't need a jump. So I went in and pushed the button and it immediately started. And I was like, woo, overjoyed. Like, how freaking cool is that? And then the next day, I was with this guy and we were having breakfast, and I walked back with him to his room to get his suitcase because he was leaving. And his key was demagnetized. He kept getting the red light, red light, red light. I'm like, so this is the next day. So already what I believed was possible had expanded. I'm like, well, why not? If I could start a dead car battery with my hands, why can I not reprogram a key? So I'm like, I do my thing. I'm like, okay, I just felt like it's ready. So he taps it and it's green. He's like, oh my gosh, it worked. So it was just so much fun, like when you play with stuff like that. So fast forward many months later, I had done this like 2 hours of meditation one day, and then my daughters wanted to go shopping. So we went shopping and we came out. I live in Phoenix, and the car battery was like completely dead. And I'm like, well, I know what to do. So I just pop the hood, I do my thing, and I'm like, okay, it feels ready. I start the car and I'm like, oh my gosh, do you guys realize that's a miracle? And they're like on their cell phones, they're teenagers. And I'm like, guys, I'm like, are you going to tell your friends? They're like, no. This is crazy. I don't know anyone else who's done this. So as luck would have it, we were directly across the street from an AutoZone where they sell car batteries. So I went there and they made me shut off the car so they could test the battery. So they put the cables on. They're like, oh, your battery is really bad, but we don't have your battery here. So I push the button and it immediately starts. I'm like, what is happening? Right. And then on the way to the other auto parts store, I'm like, I was like Oprah giving away the cars. I'm like, I was so delighted that, I don't know, just it's like a child at play, right? When you find these powers that you didn't know you had, or they're latent. We all have them. We just get myopic. We're like, we only see with our blinders on. So it was a really beautiful day in Phoenix. So there were a lot of people walking down the street, and I'm driving and I'm like, you get some love and you get some love. And I was like beaming everybody love, like everybody, you get some love and you get some love. And I felt like they could feel it. And when I went into the auto parts store, like people were just like smiling. And then this young guy's like, oh my gosh, you're so beautiful. I'm like, what? I'm like 55. Thank you. And then somebody volunteered, an employee volunteered to go install my battery. Like that just doesn't happen, right? I mean, isn't that insane? But I was like so loving and so open, and everybody around me was just like in an embrace. And that is what's possible when you become that future version of you, the one who has all the characteristics that you want. She has all the things you want, if you want a nice house or nice clothes, whatever. And she behaves the way you wish you behaved, the way you're proud of, the way that's in alignment and is the truth of who you are. Then there is this ripple effect that's created. As people are in your presence, they feel it. They want to be around you, and you magnetize people to you. So no matter what you do, it will help you be more successful too, right? Because people want to be around that energy. It's so loving and so juicy, and people are like, I want some of that. Let me touch you, see if that rubs off. So I invite you to play with this. Really devote yourself to it. Commit to doing it every single day. If you really want to go fast, do it a couple times a day. Every time you go to the bathroom, like just sit on the toilet and think, okay, how would my future self go to the bathroom? I don't know, I'm just being silly. But everything you do, okay, how would my future self, what would my future self have for breakfast? What would she say to herself when she tried on an outfit and looked in the mirror? Right? Like all those things matter. Would your future self say, oh gosh, you look fat in that? No, never. She'd say, damn, you're hot. You look beautiful. Right? Like have fun. Like your future self isn't sweating the small stuff. She's having a blast. So be her. Be her now. That's your invitation. All right. Thank you so much for watching Irresistible You, Ignite Your Passion and Purpose. I hope you had as much fun as I did. I will see you right here next week. I'm Karen Seltz. Bye-bye.